Hello everyone and welcome to Ansible Fest 2021. Today I will be talking about automating your VMware and ServiceNow using Ansible. My name is Abhijit Kasurde and I am from Ansible content team. So let's get started. So before starting our talk, I would like to introduce myself in brief. I am a principal software engineer in Red Hat. I am a free and open source software evangelist. If you would like to contact me, you can find my GitHub and Twitter handles as mentioned over here. So what is the agenda for today's talk? So first of all, we will see introduction to VMware REST collection. Then we'll see what are the different features of VMware collection. Then we'll see introduction to ServiceNow collection and the features that are provided by ServiceNow collection. And then we'll understand how these two collection can be used for your automation of ServiceNow and VMware. Introduction to VMware collection. VMware REST collection is also called as VMware.VMware_REST. It is currently at version 2. As of August 2021. It uses VMware REST APIs in order to talk to various vCenter APIs. That is why it does not require any third-party libraries to talk to VMware or vCenter environment. It allows user to perform day one as well as day two kind of activities, which are related to your VMware infrastructure. You can find the code of VMware REST over here. You can download the Galaxy collection from this Galaxy URL, which is provided over here. Now let us talk about some of the brief features of VMware collection. So VMware collection provides these things like gathering information about VMware objects such as data centers, data stores, VMs, and many more objects. Then it allows user to manage the virtual machines, their hardware, their power states, network, and different things related to virtual machines. Now let's move on to ServiceNow collection. So ServiceNow collection is also called as ServiceNow.ITSM, and it is currently at version 1.1 as of August 2021. It manages ServiceNow CMDB APIs using REST API interface. It also does not depend upon any third-party Python library. It is written in purely Python. You can find the GitHub URL for ServiceNow collection over here. And if you want to download the latest release, then you can use this following Galaxy URL. Now let's talk about some of the features of ServiceNow collection. So ServiceNow collection allows you to manage problems, incidents, configuration item, change requests. And it also allows you to gather information about problems, incidents, configuration item, and change request from their respective data tables. Now let's move on to the demo part of the talk. So all the code mentioned over here is uploaded at this GitHub URL. So you can clone and fork this URL in order to get this code. So let's move on to the demo part. Now we will understand how ServiceNow collection and VMware collection can be used together in order to automate your VMware infrastructure or ServiceNow infrastructure. So first take an example that you want to create an incident for a particular request in your ServiceNow account. So let's see the brief things about it. So creating an instance of service in the ServiceNow for a request for creating an VM for a developer. This is the use case. Now we'll see how we can do this using Ansible. Now, as you can see, this is my ServiceNow instance, and this is my incident CMDB table. Now you can see right now there is no incident logged over here. Let's move on to the command line prompt. So now I have a playbook over here called create incident, which look like this. So now I'll open this. Now, as you can see here, I'm using ServiceNow.ITSM collection in order to create an incident. So it is directly talking to the ServiceNow instance. So I have turned off the gather facts equal to false. And the first task is, it is creating an incident. So here I'm specifying a parameter. First, the state of the incident, that is new. You can also change the states using this module as well. So since this incident is a new, I have specified the description as short description, that is create a VM web server VM. Then for long duration description, I have specified a developer wants a temporary web server VM in ESXi 10.65.201.106, and its impact and urgency. So impact is medium and urgency is low. And I can specify other parameters which are not provided here, can be provided using a parameter called other, and you can specify a key value pair over here, and you can specify the additional details over here. Now we will close this file and run the this playbook using Ansible playbook command. So this will look like this. Now the task is created. So you can see over here the task is successful and the state is changed, and the incident is created with this respective ID. Now we'll cross verify in this ServiceNow instance. So you can see over here that this is newly created instance incident in the incident table with our given short description and the long description, as you can see over here. And the respective things like impact and urgencies are also noted over here. So you can imagine in your workflow when you can automate all these kind of things using Ansible. So this is very helpful while generating requests, creating incidents, and many other things like that. Now we will move on to the second example. Now we will use VMware collection in order to create a virtual machine for the previous requirement. So in the previous requirement, a developer requested a VM, and since he created one incident, now we'll work on that incident, and then we'll create a virtual machine and then store this same information in ServiceNow, and then we'll see how that can be used. So you can imagine it is trying to solve a piece of puzzle in this whole automation frame. Now, as you can see, this is my vCenter, that is 10.8.36.25. This is my vCenter, and I have a ESXi inside it, that is 10.65.201.106. And it has bunch of VMs over here. And right now, I don't have a requested VM running or hosted over here. So now we basically will use a clone from our already created VM, so that the process of creating VM is faster and the user resolution will be much more faster than this. So let's now move on to the code. Okay, so the module that creates or clones the VM from existing VM is called as vcenter_VM. In order to run this, it requires other things like cluster name, data store name, folder name, the source VM name, and the destination VM name. So we have specified all these details in vars. There are like I said, so VMware collection provides modules, info modules to gather information about particular VMware object, and that can be used to use that information in automation. So here you can see I am trying to find a source VM with the name and trying to use that information in my automation. So here the first task is gathering the information of the source virtual machine. Then second thing is like I have created I have a cluster. I have to gather information about that cluster as well. Then third task will be gathering information about the resource pool. Then I am also gathering information about the data store and the folder where I want to place this VM. Now I have gathered all the information, required information, and I'll pass this information to the given task, that is vCenter underscore VM, under the placement, and I have specified the source as the source VM ID and the state as clone. So basically the source VM will be copied or cloned into destination VM as per the requirement with this vCenter underscore VM module. Now we will run this playbook using Ansible playbook command like this. See, it is gathering the information of source VM. Now it will gather the information of cluster, resource pool, data store, folder, and now it will create the VM using clone operation. Cluster information, then resource information, resource pool information, basically data store information, folder information, and it created the clone using the clone operation, and it showed that task is running. Now we'll go to the vCenter, and as you can see, the web server VM is created from the given requirement using clone operation. Now we will assume that the information about this VM is fetched and stored inside the ServiceNow. Since you can assume that ServiceNow is a single source of truth for your whole organization, all the related details will be stored in ServiceNow. So in order to close the incident itself, we'll need that requirement. So we'll see how ServiceNow inventory plugin can be used in order to gather the information about the various inventories in the given environment. So for that, we'll see one example. So here we will see how we can populate information about host groups using ServiceNow inventory plugin from the VMware instance table. So there can be, you can have hybrid environment as well, where you can have AWS, GCP, VMware, KVM, or any other environment for that matter. You can store the information about all the information about the host in ServiceNow and gather that same information from the inventory and produced dynamic inventory for Ansible for automating that on your environment. So here you can see, you can cross verify the information from ServiceNow tables to the actual environment as well using Ansible, so that there is no discrepancy between those two environments, and your data about the inventory is absolutely correct all the time. Now we will see how we can use inventory plugin in ServiceNow collection. So here you can see there is a table called VMware Virtual Machine Instance in ServiceNow. Now it holds all the information about all the virtual machines that are hosted in my vCenter. So here there are names for these VMs as per my vCenter environment. Then it stores the information about the memory, IP addresses, and CPU, and much more related details. Now we'll go to the command line. Here we will see a ServiceNow inventory configuration file. It's a YAML file. It starts with plugin. It specifies which inventory plugin I have to use. Since ServiceNow inventory plugin is hosted in ServiceNow.ITSM, I need to specify the FQCN of that inventory plugin over here, something like this, ServiceNow.ITSM.now. Then all the information is stored under the table called cmdb underscore ci underscore vmware underscore instance. So that is why I have specified the table name over here. And I have specified the column details. So the column details are basically which information should I retrieve from the CMDB table itself. So I have just specified name and IP address. And then I am also adding a bunch of other information. For example, Ansible underscore user and Ansible underscore host. So in order to communicate with the given host with the IP address. So you can see it can also do bunch of other stuff. You can write conditional statements in order to check the machine is a Linux or Windows, and depending upon change the user over here, and also the Ansible connection variable as well. Now we will run this configuration file using Ansible inventory file. So the command will be Ansible inventory -i, the name of the ServiceNow configuration file, and we'll see -- list. Now, if we can see, we have successfully ran the inventory plugin over here, and it went and started talking to the ServiceNow instance and gathered the information from CMDB CI VMware instance table and presented to us with formatting. It also populated the host tours, as you can see over here. For example, like Ansible host, Ansible user, and IP address. So this information is valuable for communicating between the Ansible controller and the managed node that are stored inside your VMware environment, or also called as VMware Guest. So here you can see all the details about the host names and their respective names, and all these are gathered. So here I would like to make a point that you can also create groups depending upon their particular properties. For example, you can create groups depending upon what operating system is installed, then what are the tier label, then what is the number of CPUs that are present, then different things which are related to virtual machine, like a production or a test environment or a dev instance or something like that. So inventory plugin provides you that liberty to group your host groups into different groups, and then you can run your whole automation on those host groups depending upon your requirement. So that completes the third example. So you can imagine this two collections will be able to help you in your day-to-day activities, and they are very simple to use and they are very much intuitive. So right now we are heavily working on these two in order to get the best quality out of them. So that being said, I would like to conclude my talk over here. Thank you for listening. If you want to know more, you can check out all these channels for Ansible information, and you can download the given code from the GitHub repository URL that has been provided in the slides itself. Thank you.